Hello Chem 101 students. So this is going to be a video where we practice something in chapter 4 that people may have an issue with. It's naming the ionic compounds, right? So I found a question in the text. It's number 29 and it says give either the formula or the name for each of the following. So in these first two examples we're given a formula, so we need to name them, and in the last two examples we're given a name, so we have to just write the chemical formula. Not so shabby. So this first one has silver and NO3, and we had to memorize that Ag is +1. That's one thing we had to memorize, and we had to memorize that NO3 minus is called what? Nitrate. So the formula for this would just simply be silver nitrate. So why did I not put a parentheses 1 after silver to indicate the charge of silver? That's because Ag+, it's always Ag+. Remember, you give silver to a loved one. So that's how I remember it. So this one's just simply called silver nitrate. The next one, we have aluminum, and this is not an ion I'm going to have you memorize, but if I supplied it with you, I would say in the exam, I would say that you would be given MnO4. You would be given that MnO4 minus is manganate, permanganate. Manganate. Okay, so I spelled that very, very poorly. I'll spell it again correctly down here. So, Al is one that we did have to memorize. We do know that aluminum will carry a charge of 3+, right? And I'm given that MnO4 is permanganate. So the name for this one is simply aluminum permanganate. That's simply the name for this. Why did I not put a parentheses after this with the charge of 3 after aluminum? That's because aluminum's charge of 3+ is given. It's not going to change. So moving on, these were given names. We have to do actual formulas for them. So sodium chromate. So sodium is one that I am going to have to memorize. It is in the first column. So if we locate it, it's Na. And so if it's in the first column, it is an alkali metal. And alkali metals have a charge of +1. So we know that sodium is going to be Na+. Chromate is also not one that you have to memorize. But chromate is CrO4 2-. Right? So I could give you, say, make a compound with sodium and chromate, and I would tell you that chromate is CrO4 2-. So how do I make a compound out of these? So I have a +1 on Na and a -2 on chromate. They have to be neutral. So if I have 2 Nas, that would bring a total of 2+, and that would balance out this 2-. So the formula would be Na2CrO4. Now, things to note here. You do not have charges after you write the formula, right? So don't write Na2 plus CrO4 2-. Nope, no good, right? Because once it's in a formula, you don't have that. Always go back to something you know. You know NaCl. Do you see charges in sodium chloride table salt? No, because it's a balanced compound that no longer needs charges written in it. Another thing that you don't do, you don't put parentheses around something that's single, right? So you wouldn't put parentheses around Na because it's monoatomic. It would look silly to have Na parentheses 2 CrO4, right? Because why would you have a parentheses? Parentheses are used for when there's multiple elements inside. So this is also bad. This is also wrong. No good, no good, no good. Let's move on to another example here. Copper 2 phosphate. So copper, if you guys recall, it's not in column 1, group 1, it's not in group 2, it's not in group 7, and it's not aluminum, zinc, or silver. So we don't have to memorize copper. In fact, we can't. Copper can have multiple different charges. It's a transition metal. So if you notice, it says a 2 after copper. So that is literally telling me that it is in fact Cu2+. That's a given. They tell me it's Cu2+. Phosphate is one that we had to memorize. It's on the list. So if I memorize it, I know that it's PO4 3-. So we have Cu2+ and PO4 3-. So I have to balance these out, right? And you can't cut an atom in half. So I'm going to have to take multiples of each in order to reach the smallest common multiple, if you will. So the smallest common multiple that 2 and 3 have in common is a 6. So I'm going to have to make this into a 6+ and make this into a 6-. I'll have to take 3 of these, right? And I'm going to have to take 2 of these. So in the end, my formula is going to be Cu3 parentheses PO4 2. So the 2 down here is because this is a polyatomic anion, and that means we have 2 of this whole PO4 phosphate. And the 3 is because we have 3 coppers. So this is the formula for copper 2 phosphate. So I'll do, if you guys need me to, I'll do a couple more of these videos for more practice. But just let me know if this helped. But good luck on that, and I'm going to be posting more videos later today.